Nevertheless, our celebrity guest is here. So thanks for rolling with the punches here. Let me introduce our celebrity guest tonight. I'm excited. This is the first time they're on an activation Zoom, and they're really cool. I mean, they've served our country, y'all, and even that in and of itself is absolutely profound. But I would say they be, they're freedom chasers at heart as well. I mean, if you're in this space, you're a freedom chaser. And it's really cool because, they had a handful of $1 million of assets under management in around like 2020. But then in the last few years, they've absolutely exploded their portfolio. I think they're at maybe around 300 million or maybe even more. We'll find out in a second, but just hundreds of millions of assets under management. And then on top of that, helping multitudes of other investors by giving back and really getting them jump started and launched into their, if it's okay if I use this term, freedom chasing journey as well. So ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's get our celebrity guest on right now. Let's welcome, I give a big freedom chasers welcome to Maricela. Let's get you unmuted and spotlighted. Welcome.
Hello, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. We can hear you. And we understand Chris. Chris is on a coaching call, right? And may join us in a little bit. Oh no, Chris is here as
Actually,
well.
he's here. Yeah, because the time zone. So he's here.
Yes.
So that's
Yes.
awesome. So good to see all of you here. I'm scrolling to see some faces. Some of you guys look familiar, and a lot of new faces. It's awesome to have this space to share. So thank you for inviting us to this event. We're super happy to be here.
Yes, definitely. And again, I apologize. I sent the wrong calendar invite time, but you guys, y'all exercise some problem solving skills and we're able to be flexible and accommodating. So thank you
For
very
sure.
much. And again, I'm very sorry about that, but we are excited to have you guys tonight. Maricela, am I saying that correctly? Maricela.
Maricela, you got it.
Okay, outstanding. And Chris, all right, I know we want to take a few minutes. We want to unpack you guys' success story, but then also you guys have some wisdom to share with us as far as diversifying your real estate portfolio. So we for sure want to give you guys plenty of time to share with us and impact that specific topic. But maybe let's zoom back. I mean, you guys' story is really cool. You all both served our country. Is that correct? You guys both
Correct.
served our country. So when did this concept of real estate investing come into y'all's radar?
Um, so I can start. So actually I started investing in real estate before joining the military, before it was in 2006, bought my first duplex house, hacked it before knowing what that was. And then my goal was to continue to get one more property every year. I figured by the time I'm 50, I have enough properties that they can be cash flowing enough and I could not have to work if I didn't need it. So that was my beginnings. And then Chris, do you want to take it from here?
Sure, absolutely. So essentially, we both started around 2006 with our own single family duplexes. In 2017, I met Maricela. She was in the process of having 11 units. She was buying two quadplexes at the same time. Like she mentioned, buying one a year sounded like a great idea. She actually jumped to a quadplex and was offered the opportunity to buy a second one from the same seller. This is where once you get a deal, sometimes you just ask for what else is out there and it shows itself. And then you just try to do everything you can to make it happen. So when we joined up, she had 11 doors. I had one. I was active duty military. I bought multiple properties in my journey, but I never kept them. It wasn't until I was in for about 11 and a half years that somebody mentioned the same concept Maricela was mentioning. If you own 10 units by the time you retired, those units plus your retirement would give you a nice life. And so from 2017 to 2020, we grew to 35 apartments in Austin area. In 2020, I retired from the military, and that was where we felt comfortable with switching to joint ventures and syndications because we didn't want to be in charge of other people's money when both of us had the opportunity of being deployed, right? Kind of wrong to go out to the battlefield, not have internet connection, not be able to maintain and monitor your properties. in the right way. Maricela was fortunate enough that she found a property manager when she was deployed and had 3 units. She was able to have them property managed fairly easily and a little bit more hands off, but it was with her own money. And so it's very different when you're dealing with investments from other people. There's a different level of responsibility that you have to make sure that you're maintaining. Fiduciary responsibility is what it's called. So that's essentially our journey to the point that we started doing the joint ventures and syndications. And we sold in 21. We started selling our properties. We tripled our money in most of those opportunities from the time we bought to the time we sold. Some of them only owning for a few years, but Austin was such a hot market, we were able to split those monies into joint ventures. We went into some syndications as passive investors so that we could learn the process a little bit from an investor point of view. And it also takes time to find that first deal, as everybody here probably knows. Going into real estate, it takes a minute. And so we were able to spend that. It took us 13 months to close our first large multifamily deal. It was 212 units in Houston. And it was through networking, getting to know people, telling them what we can bring to the deal, as well as what we would expect and what our goals were. We had those conversations as we networked with people, and that's how we ended up really finding the first deals that we got into.
Yeah, and the diversification started there when we started selling some of the properties. We immediately went into finding other type of assets. We diversified to buy storage facilities, mobile home parks, and we did private lending money as well. We bought notes. So all of those investments are diversified, but only across different real estate assets. So that's what we wanted to, open this as a opportunity. If any of you have questions about how to get in the other assets outside from multifamily, we're able to take that conversation. Some people have some homes and they want to sell them. How can you then transition into something bigger and preserve your cash flow? Because that's exactly what we did. We sold those properties and we're still getting cash flow as of today and probably for the next 15 years average. And that's what was as a note investment. So that's what's giving us cash flow. We also do lending, like one of our assets, one of the storage, we are the lender. So we get paid on the lender side as well as the investor side. So there's a lot of ways that you can make money in the real estate. So that's what we like to, share and be open for questions.
Outstanding. So you guys, I'm curious, and one of the things that we try to help people in the Freedom Chasers community is, hey, what path should they take? I mean, should they just try to take down deals themselves? Should they jump right into building their team and going after, like, following the syndication model? You guys had success just doing a bunch of deals by yourself, and that's where you said, Chris, what, you guys got up to 35 doors? Is that right? Just with your own money. And then you pivoted, offloaded that, and got into syndications. So what would be the advice you guys could share with the community as far as, hey, should I go just taking down deals myself until I get to a certain point, or should I launch into syndication, or help shed some advice on how to work through that thought process in the best way?
Sure, and thank you. Everybody's journey is different. What they have for capital available is different. And so it will direct you in whichever way that you need to go to make this all happen, right? So we were fortunate enough to have enough of our own cash flow available, our own reserves available to be able to go in and grow our portfolio before we made the big jump. But it is not a requirement. As I mentioned, if you're networking with people and you tell them what you want to do and what you bring to the table, we can asset manage, we can sign on a loan, we have some liquidity, we can find a deal, right? And we have an investor pool. Those 5 main categories are what people are looking for when you look to do syndications. But if you feel like, hey, I have to go the route of buying a single family, that's not true. Today, it's really tough to find a single family or a duplex where you're not putting down, let's say $125,000, at least $100,000 to $125,000 down. That same $100,000 down at 6% cash on cash return in a syndication as a passive investor can make you $6,000 a year, right? At 6%, $100,000, 6%, it'll make you about about $6,000 a year. Well, guess what? When you own a single family home, do you think you clear $500 a month right from the beginning? Do you clear $500 a month in 2 to 3 years on a single family home? Maybe. I don't know. That's only $50 to $600. $6,000 is $500 a month that you would have to clear cash flow on your property. And when we underwrote single families and we underwrote quadplexes, we were happy to walk away with about $125 a door when we first purchased it, thinking that with budgeting all the things you have to budget for. So again, if you have the cash available, and if we had known what we know today, if we had known it back then, we would have been dumping our money into syndications with people that we know, like, and trust, people with a track record. Admittedly, past performance does not indicate future performance. But if you have the learning, if you have the knowledge, it's so much easier for those that have an income generating job, position, whatever you want to call it, to maintain and keep going in that direction, keep making the income so that you don't have to pay attention to what your money's doing. You can get it invested and let it grow. And in 3 to 5 years, you'll have enough with the expectation of it doubling in 5 years. You may have enough to go into that next level of asset, or you have enough to participate on the general partnership side. It really boils down to how much time do you have in your day that you're willing to spend to run these assets, and that's at all levels. Single family homes and quadplexes require more hands-on because there's less margin. If you have to call a repair guy out for every little thing that happens on the property, you will never cash flow on that property. Almost a guarantee. Even a brand new property is going to have something once or twice a year. And if it's a large thing, there goes all your cash flow for the year. If you go into an opportunity that has more economy of scale, it has 20, 30, 50, 150 doors, it can absorb the costs and still be able to push out some of the cash flow.
Really good.
Just
really
to give you an update, because you mentioned, like, I think the last time that we connected was we were about $320 million under management. We are at $430 million under management on our assets. We have a close GP, if your members here understand GPLP. So we are GP or active and 14 of those deals, and then we have about 12 of them that we are passive. We also have 5 joint ventures. So I mentioned this so that if there's a question that you want to ask about that, maybe the structure in your deal, maybe how much money do you make? I mean, we are open book to share that, because some people think that I'm gonna get my first deal and I can retire from my job, and that is nowhere just not the case, but it can give you an idea if to gauge it, how many deals do I need to make so I can replace my salary. But that's where we are right now. And again, this is a game that you play, and you play it for a long time, because it's not a get rich quick. Again, I told you the first duplex I bought it for $12,000 down payment, and then the rest was finance. But it's getting started is what you need, and also when I did it, I was doing it by myself. It wasn't until I found Chris that we got to at least have a conversation with somebody that could, didn't call me crazy for getting all those loans. So you need to be a part of this communities like this, and have that person that is going to help you, guide you through the steps, mentorships, that coaching, if you have to pay for coaching so you can get like the quick, I mean, that's the easiest way to not make that many mistakes, and then just get the tailored coaching for your own situation, for your own specific, where you find yourself, because we can give you all this, like, well, you could go this way or you could go this way. People has done it this way or that way, but it's not until you actually get, okay, this is where my situation is. How can I go from here? So I highly, highly encourage you to, to just, we've done it. We pay for coaching, mentorships, masterminds. I mean, we've spent a lot of time and money and educating ourselves, and we still do, because even with all those deals under our belt, there is always something new that you learn, or at least what we learn when we put ourselves in communities like this and other communities that where the conversation is encouraged to have this, building your wealth through real estate.
Beautiful, beautiful. One thing I want to unpack before I turn it back over to you guys and start talking about diversification is, could y'all talk about the catalyst? I mean, you guys had, $4 or $5 million assets under management in 2020, and now you're at, what'd you say, 450? 430. 430. I mean, add 2 zeros to what you guys had and plus some in 2020. So what were the catalysts behind that? What were the accelerators that allowed you to do that? Or maybe 2 or 3 principles that really set you on that trajectory to get you where you are today?
I go first. Oh, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead.
One, always talk about what you have going on, what you need help with, like open the conversation with sharing the things that you know. So always continue to grow your network, like meeting people here, meeting people in person, we do a lot of free events where the whole purpose is just to continue to have this connection with potential partners, potential investors, or people that just want to learn and then go do their own. But having that continuity, like keeping that momentum, and you need people. You need people for this kind of business. You need people. So whether you are looking for investors or partners, we have keep consistency not only on our presence or content that we create. Like if you are in our email list, you know that we're gonna be talking to you several times a week at least. And
Yes, you
we
are.
try to we try to add information that is pertinent. So that has been one thing that we continuously have done. And even if it's bad news, that you can't just go and hide. Look, you can't go and do one deal and then disappear from the universe. You're gonna, people that hide behind those tragedies or those deals that are not doing well, are gonna you start building that distrust. So even when you have to deliver bad news, which we had, and we can talk about that, you have to show face, so that's one thing, the consistency, continuously showing up, and continually giving to the community. I think that's one thing that kept us going. Chris?
Wow.
I'm going to say that it kind of boils it down to one word, what she just talked about, and that was intentionality. Be intentional in your actions. And then the other side of it would be to take action on what you've learned and what you know. Don't be afraid to take that risk. Everything in real estate is a risk. Every investment opportunity, every time you go out and look for another piece of lending or another deal to go into, it's a risk all the way through. You've already evaluated it. You've already gotten the education. You know what you're doing. Trust yourself that you're on the right path and take action. So we were intentional from day one. The minute we switched over, we grabbed training, an immediate mentor, and we immediately started being very intentional in networking with people. We developed a process for ourselves when we get on calls with initial people. Originally, we were taking like an hour to have a conversation, a get to know each other. And it didn't have any form to it. It didn't have any direction. And as time went on, we were like, we can't do this every day. We just can't do that. Take an hour out 2 or 3 times a day to have a networking conversation. And we figured out how to bring that conversation and get the same impact for both sides within 15 to 20 minutes, because we were very intentional in the questions we asked and what we were looking to share and receive in that phone call. So it works both ways, but it can really help you maximize and grow. Because think about it, if we were doing 2 calls a day, an hour each, we're only talking to 2 people. But if we do 2 hours a day of networking at even 20 minutes each, we can do 6. We can meet with 6 people in a day. And it broadens your horizon, it broadens your network that much more. So be intentional and take action on what you know you've already learned.
I'm gonna add one more thing because I know that we and this hopefully helps many of you. We also build systems and use technology to automatize things that we otherwise it was time consuming. So you know, email campaigns, newsletter, like blogs and social media posting. We delegate those tasks to our team. And we use virtual assistants and train them specifically for the real estate. That has allowed us to, you know, again, continuously nurture those relationships. And we have raised over $23 million on funds for our deal. So, you know, it is a lot of responsibility. It's a lot of time. And Chris is doing this full time. I still work in the hospital. My primary job is an anesthesia provider. So 5 to 6 months out of the year, I still be at the hospital. So if I don't have those systems in place, I probably will disappear and the face of others. But because we have those systems in place and we have our team that helps us, we can continue to stay current and stay present with our potential investors and partners.
Outstanding. Outstanding. Thanks for sharing that, guys. Can we pivot a little bit here and talk about diversification? I mean, you guys really made your mark in the multifamily space, but now you guys are involved in several different.
Oh, did he freeze or is it me?
I think so. I think so. It's okay. I got the question. So we'll talk now about the diversification. And you know, you can see it in different ways. We've been what do you say? We've been priced for diversifying our portfolio because our portfolio cash flows is still appreciating and is still providing the depreciation that we were looking to preserve. So, but we also have been highly criticized because they think that we are chasing the shiny syndrome, the shiny object. So, but at the end of the day, what I can tell you is our portfolio cash flows is still appreciating and it's providing the depreciation that we want. And as an investor, I believe that's what we're here for, right? To do those 3 things. It's your 3 cakes that you want to keep and eat them. So as far as the diversification, we started doing that with our own money. So like we mentioned in the what do you call it, in the mobile home parks, the first mobile home park that we bought, it was with another couple and us. So it was 2 partners. So we went with our own money, proved the concept, understood the business, learned the business, and then we did it again with another partnership. And then after that, when we saw that from inside out, pretty much what the business was, how the business was running, how profitable it was, that's when then we invited other investors and we syndicated that asset. So if, you know, for us, and it adds credibility when you bring in a new asset to your investors. You know, if you haven't done it, if you just got the deal and you have no experience, it's going to be a little more difficult to sell it, meaning to bring your investors, than when you say, you know what, I've done this with my own money. We already, you know, are profitable about it. You know, you can probably show a case study. It just shows better.
Additionally, as we transitioned out of our personal portfolio, another part of the diversification was that as we sold off some of those properties, we sold them to other investors. Now, why would we do that? Well, we turned what would have been an opportunity to just get all the cash out of the property and move on into other things. We actually turned them into cash flowing assets after we sold by doing seller finance for the down payment. Now, we didn't seller finance directly on the property we were selling because that would be illegal if Jerry wanted to chime in. It's a great spot. But without telling the primary lender, that would be illegal to do, right? And it could also change their percentage of primary lending available. But what we did was we made them go get their primary lender. And because they were investors already, they had other properties that had equity in them. And so we did a loan, a second position loan on another property, gave them the money. that they then 24 hours later handed us back as the down payment on the property they were buying from us. Now, this was great because we now have a lien on a property that they have to pay us a mortgage on. They're crediting it to the property they're buying from us. They got into that property essentially for, I'll say, less than $10,000 for 5 different properties. And we can talk about values, but it was probably about $2.5 to $3 million worth of property. They got into them for $10,000 or less each. But what happened for us? We turned the property that we were getting rid of into cash flow, and each of those properties we just rinse and repeat, right? So they bought 5 of them from us. The first one was the only one that we didn't know the property necessarily. Each time that we moved into the next class or the next property, we refinanced. We did a second loan position on the previous property they purchased from us in most cases. And then when we got down to the last few, there was enough appraisal value in the property to go ahead and give them between the last 3. So the last 2 big ones that we sold them, we did a larger loan that actually exceeded the price of the property at that point. But we did a larger loan because the last property, they didn't end up with a second position loan on, right? And so we were able to cycle that money. It was really kind of cool. 2 years later, they reached out and said, hey, remember that first property we did? We need to refinance that. Well, it's a terrible time to refinance right now. They weren't getting the loan values that they were hoping for, so they weren't able to pay us off directly with that refinance money. So we said, we're open to refinance this loan, but just realize the interest rates have changed. And so we actually got a $500 a month bump in our pay on a property we don't own. So, and everybody walked away happy in that process, actually, because we gave them different options for extending it, making the payment less, keep it the same, make it higher, whatever you want to do. And they agreed to keep the same loan term because it was a nice long loan term on it. And so we ended up with a pay increase. So that's just another form of diversification as you build your portfolio, or maybe even as you're starting your portfolio. It's a way to get into a deal cheap. If you have equity available, if you have a line of credit available, those are a great opportunity for you to utilize the equity that's locked up in your home, that you can push an extra loan on the back end of your primary and be able to have the cash available to purchase your first investment potentially. I personally would want to be in control of that. If it was putting my own personal home at risk, I would want to be in control of that asset, but that is your choice on how you decide to invest those dollars.
Can I ask you guys real quick, and sorry, my son barged in on me here. I think I'm out in my working shed. You'd think I'd be protected from any kind of family barging in, but no place is safe with little ones running.
Family's why we do this, for many of us.
Exactly.
So nothing wrong with that at all, Trevor.
That's correct. I think Trevor might have got kicked off. He's been on and off of here about 5 or 6 times so far. So,
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, we're rolling with it. We're rolling with it. Thanks, Jerry.
yeah.
Absolutely.
I think it would be helpful. You guys keep rolling. Y'all are doing amazing. But one thing that I didn't ask earlier was, what is the synergistic relationship between you guys as far as your function in the company and working these deals together and operating these assets? Could y'all elaborate on that?
Absolutely. So different, I guess I'll say different mentors and different people that are leaders in business would say that there's either 2 or 3 different main people in any given business that's successful. And we actually read a book named Rocket Fuel by Gino Wickman. If you've never heard of it before, essentially it's about an integrator and a visionary in every business. And you need one of each, and they need to be synergistic in how they work. Your visionary is often looking off into the future. What's the next thing? Where's the next place? What are we doing next? And the integrator is there saying, hey, we just brought on this new thing. We need to get it incorporated. We need to work within our systems, get it all situated and pretty and nice. They don't have that drive to move out to the next thing necessarily. And it works very well because you have one out looking to expand and the other one's looking to corral and make a strong foundation. And when you get the right two people together, they take off like rocket fuel because it's a self-feeding entity or organism at that point. It's finding the next deal, it's pulling in the next people, it's grabbing the next investors, whatever it is, and they're bringing them in to fill that void that might be in there as you stretch apart. The other nice part to the right integrator and visionary is one of you can say to the other one, hold up just a second. This is something that we kind of adapted out of that book, is to not say, no, we can't go do that. But we say, hold up just a second. We need to tidy this up a little bit more. Or or the other one's like, I want to go do this. And you're like, well, let's prepare just a second for that because that's going to change how some of this other stuff works. So the visionary and the integrator are the two roles that we have. She's more the visionary. I'm more the integrator. I do more of the asset management side of things, and she does like our social media and our investor relations. And a lot of our investor pool comes from her career field and those types of folks. The third person that sometimes is talked about in different areas would be the builder. And the builder is the one that kind of helps the integrator to continue to build that strong foundation and to grow the company as it moves forward.
So as you guys are building your team or trying to find partners, make sure that you combine both. And that's why we spend quite a bit of time explaining why, like understanding what you like to do. Because at one point, maybe you're right now doing everything. Maybe you're the one that's handling social media, looking for deals, underwriting the deals, bringing capital. Maybe you're doing everything. But at one point, the whole goal of growing a business is like you don't have to, it doesn't depend on you. You have systems in place and you have people or partners that are going to help you. So yes, you're going to have a responsibility, but you can step away, you can vacation, you can do it in 1 or 2 days and then take the rest of the time off. That's what we want. And so because of it, we focus a lot on finding even those partners that they like to do the hands-on. They want to conduct that part. Like we could do it, but if they want to do it, then we develop that and or bring that partner into the team. And so I do spend a lot of time in education and building those relationships initially, but it won't do any good if I don't have any deals or if I don't have deals that I trust to pitch them. So that's why like Chris is the underwriter. Like at the same time, he can have all these deals, but if he doesn't have the capital to fund them, what good is that? For the partnership. So when you are forming your partnership, make sure that you understand what you like to do, you are confident on that, and then partner up with people to bring the whole puzzle and the whole team together.
Maricela, can I ask, out of the experience of the different asset classes and investment types that you guys have had and also been successful in, what's the one you guys are, and maybe I'm using this term incorrectly, but bullish on? You guys are like, oh, this is where it's at right now in today's market. What are y'all high on right now?
Well, today's market, we love self-storage and mobile home parks. And right now, that's what's paying. That's what's paying, and it still has the depreciation. The model that we follow for the self-storage facilities, we want to buy them if preferably not an office space, just the community. We like to gate it and systematize everything. That again, it needs 1 or 2 people to walk the grounds and help us with boots on the ground, but you can hire that at hourly instead of paying payroll. So we like that. For the mobile home parks, we like the model that, again, no office. We don't like our RV. The last acquisition that we had, it was at 286, and it has some RV component. So we have to have an office. We have to have amenities, because that's what's going to attract that type of visitors. But we prefer those that are just purely the pads themselves, and we don't like to own the home. So if we find one that has the homes that are owned by the current owner, we immediately, when we close, we sell them or seller finance to the families. And that does 2 main things. One, it offloads the maintenance component that is falls off our responsibility. And two, it gives the families the ownership, just the feeling that they own something. And so they're more likely to take care of the property, to take care of the park, and they're invested in living and staying there for a long time. So that it stabilizes the property because they don't want to go, they don't want to leave. So that's the model we have. So we like those two. What would you say, Chris, about what?
Right now, for his question, absolutely, that is exactly the way that I would answer it. The difference, I guess, being that the market is looking like it's going to change. Multifamily just hasn't made as much sense lately in the last 2 years, really. With interest rates climbing, sellers not coming off their price. They know their property is worth good money. They're just picking the wrong time to sell. And some of them, they're forced to sell, right? But what I can tell you is that had we not done 9 deals in 2022, we would not have carried over almost $600,000 in depreciation. That when we did no deals, well, we did 1 deal in 23, we did 2 deals in 24 because we're not done yet and we're closing a storage. So we will have done 2 deals this year. But at the end of 23, we just did our taxes and we still have out of 600,000, we still have over 200,000 available to us for the 2024 tax year to write off our income tax. So for the last 4 years, we have not paid income tax.
Wow.
We've been able to utilize our depreciation to write that off. So while we say we're bullish on the cash flowing assets, we really do love the big ones that have higher depreciation so that we can write off that income as we move forward.
Outstanding. Thank you guys for the expert insight there. What do you say we move to some Q&A? Y'all, we'll take about the next 10 minutes or so. We'll open it up to our audience here tonight. If you have a question, and Jerry, if I get booted, man, take over. Zoom is not my.
Maricela, I'm gonna push off to the other coaching call that I have. I would love it if you guys don't mind. We do have a freedom number calculator that people can use. If you can throw that into the chat for people to grab, if you guys are okay with that, it kind of just maps out the reality of what your investing can be for what you're looking for as a retirement income or as a passive income. I built this myself, and we share this with people all over the world, and it just puts a little bit of a reality check into people's things of what can you do, what's possible. But no matter what, don't give up on the dream, because it is totally 100% a possibility for anybody. I entered the military as an E3 making $1,000 a month. And here we are today with this multi-million-dollar assets, right? You can own it just the same as I do, as we do today. So we really love to share the opportunities with people. And thank you so much for letting us have the opportunity. I apologize that we were late getting in here, but I got to take
Hey, thanks a lot, Chris. I appreciate you, man.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I can stay. Thank you, Chris. I can stay and answer questions.
All right. And I don't know if Trevor's here or not, but we appreciate your all's time a whole bunch. So, and I see that Eric has a question. So,
okay.
Go ahead, Eric.
Hi, everybody. Thank you both for your service too, by the way, and also your time. And this has been really good. I actually do have 2 questions. First one is I have a couple of templates that I've learned to underwrite multifamily properties with. Would you have any templates that you could recommend to underwrite RV parks and mobile homes, whether they're yours, someone else's, whether it's free, whether it, or just anything that you recommend that would be the best in that?
Yeah, you can use if you're using Michael Blanc's by chance. Yeah, you can use that for it actually it's less complicated to underwrite those assets, the storage and the what do you call it, that the mobile home parks. So you could use that one. You know, just like when like all the expenses are gonna be different, and it just calculates your return. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel on that. We have recommended that for some people that are beginners. There are some, and I'm just trying to think of we have some, but I just don't know if we're okay to share it. But if you connect with us on the side, we can at least kind of walk you through, but that way you can use what you have already. There's no need for you to purchase something else.
Okay. I appreciate that.
Yeah.
I do have another question really quick as well too. So in my
Mhm.
journey of learning multifamily, I've ran across two different kinds of people. One, in my teaching, I was taught to, like, when you start off syndications, you always hire out the property management. So that's one thing. And then you hire an asset manager to kind of oversee that. And then I've also seen other people that have had a lot of success creating their own asset management company or their own property management company.
Oh,
And it sounds like you guys have a really good gauge on both of those arenas, because you said that when you started off, you had to hire property management originally to get deployed.
mhm.
Any guidance around that for starting off? Do you recommend really vetting out asset or property managers, or is it better to start small and just kind of really learn things as you
Don't
walk that
start
out?
small.
Okay.
Don't start small. It sounds intimidating when you start underwriting multi-million dollars properties, but I guarantee you, when you are buying that type of asset, first of all, the lender is your biggest partner, and your lender is gonna guide you. They're gonna underwrite the deal separately from your underwriting. So if the lender is lending, that is a really good side. It's because they're gonna protect their investment. That being said, you need to understand and have the basis on how to do it. And also the lender is going to be deciding if the property manager that you present them with is the appropriate property management manager. So they're also helping you vet those vendors. And the larger the property that you have, the more income that you're going to have to pay better vendors, better property managers, better we still do the asset management. That's something that we don't delegate. And some of the deals we have partners that's what they want to do. Maybe they want to coordinate like the capex, like the roofs and all the big item capex, because the property manager are going to charge you a percentage of it. Usually, like if your capex in a project, the capex is about, I don't know, $3 million, they will charge you a percentage of that. So if you have somebody in the team that can help with that managing the vendors, that's all it is. It's like a subcontractor. I mean, a GC that manages the subcontractors. So I rather, have somebody and give them equity in the property instead of paying them out. Then that's been one of the strategies that we have used, and everybody walks away happy. We don't have a property managing, and that's not something that we want to do, at least until we have, in a concentrated area it'll be more for strategic, just managing our own portfolio, but our portfolio is pretty segregated in different markets, and that's part of the diversification that we choose. So yeah, but property manager, definitely hiring out and doing the appropriate vetting is going to keep you from just getting in trouble. Did I answer your question?
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I think the biggest takeaway is because you're in so many different areas, it pays to just hire that out and just have a really good understanding of who they are, and have your lender as well help you with that too.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you so
Great
much.
questions. No problem. Thank you for being here.
Best
Anybody
way
else?
for Maricela, what's the best way for people attending tonight to plug in with you guys and follow what y'all have going on?
So we have a YouTube channel that you guys can join and listen to a lot of content that we share there. I can put our email if that's okay here with you guys. And yeah, okay, I put our email. Text works better. Don't call us because we probably would send you to.
For sure. Yeah, just to keep caught up to speed on what you guys have going on, and to plug into your journey. I mean, you guys are doing some pretty amazing things right now in the last essentially 4 years. Just want to make sure that everybody's caught up to speed on how they can follow what you guys are doing.
Yeah, I'm gonna put here. And Chris did mention that the calculator. I don't have it immediately here, but if you text me, just put it on calculator, and I send that to you guys. But yeah, that's where you can find us.
The freedom
and text.
calculator for the freedom chasers.
There
Very
you go.
fitting. Good stuff.
Perfect.
Okay. We got a few more minutes, everyone. Take advantage of the opportunity with Maricela here to ask a question. So go ahead and just raise your hand and you can fire away. We'll get you unmuted. Who's up next?
What I would like to add while somebody's thinking of the question, when we first get started, and we put ourselves in rooms where very successful people, and it's so intimidating. You just think like, man, I don't even know what questions to ask. I mean, recently we were with Grant Cardone. I pitched a deal that we had in front of him, and it's so intimidating. It never gets easy. But if there's anything here that you didn't understand, you just must ask. As like the second that you don't understand one word, even one word, it's going to throw you off and you're not paying attention. It's so easy to become disengaged and to become so distracted. I mean, I'm getting notifications on my phone, like, you have to be intentional. Think about it when you attend events like this, that you're going to take this content and you're going to teach it to your kids because you want them to know all this stuff. Bring your kids to the call, because they need to have access to these conversations. That is the only way that they're gonna start getting the idea that, oh, this is what mom and dad are doing. They're building something for us, but they need to be a part of this. So if you are not savvy enough or don't feel comfortable teaching this information that you listen today to your kids, you need to listen. I don't know if you record this, but you need to be more intentional and really ask questions, because I know for a fact that I talk fast and that you probably didn't catch everything. So this is the time for you to ask those questions.
That's right. That's right. Those are great words of encouragement.
I see a
All
hand
right,
up.
Cheryl, yes.
Hello.
Hello, Cheryl.
How are you?
Doing
Thank
well.
you. Yeah, you just really spoke to where I am at because my attention span is not great. So I appreciate that. But what I got from so far and my connection was also weak. So are you doing mostly lending or capital raising for investors? And would be interested in like a JV or like a first, I would be a first time owner, but I've managed and sold before. But because of the time frame, I think after so many years, you're considered a first time homeowner again.
So as far as what we're doing, we're buying on a syndication model, and yes, we are open to joint ventures when we get to know you and get to mostly get to know you, because you're gonna be in a business relationship for a while, for the time that you hold that property. So yeah, definitely. So we do both. As an investor, we take passive investors, and we also help first time GPs. 14 of them actually that had graduated with a GP position, and some of them have done more deals than that. And that's the time where we appreciate that we see that all of the efforts that we put into sharing our knowledge and sharing our journey, it pays off because we see other people succeed. As far as the first time ownership, are you buying what type of property are you buying? Because when you're buying a larger property, there's no necessarily benefits to be in the first time buying on a multi-million-dollar. So maybe that's what I need clarification on.
Oh, okay. Well, there are programs in my jurisdiction that are beneficial, like the mass housing grant I've applied for, and they give up to 50,000. Then there's a couple other. I've applied at NACA.
So are you buying primary residence then?
Yes.
Got it.
And probably short-term rental because I'm interested in vacation as well.
Got it.
So it would be one multi-investment. And it's large. It's a colonial 7-bed.
Okay. Well, so if you're buying one property and you're looking to do it as a vacation, so you're buying into a different, I mean, you're buying the property, that's the real estate, and then you're building a business around the property. So, that goes back again to, do you have experience doing that? Do you know how to underwrite that business? Just understanding the business altogether. We do midterm rentals. We used to do short-term rentals, but they're just time consuming, and for our goals, we didn't want it to be that involved, and we didn't want it to be dependent on one unit. That's what we decided to go again with the larger, even if we started passively, because we didn't know that the type of the business yet. We didn't want it to delay investing. So I mean, there's nothing wrong with doing that. Just understand, and if you don't know it, you don't have the experience, find somebody that has the experience that can guide you, because there's a lot of moving parts on the model that you're mentioning, and you definitely want to understand. We can talk about it if you want on the side. The markets, different markets are different. They have different laws around the short-term rentals and midterm rentals. We still have 3 units as a midterm rentals, but that is mostly because we don't want to sell those properties. But I hope that
Right.
helped.
Yes, definitely. Don't bite off more than you can chew.
Yeah.
Thank
For
Okay.
sure.
Thank
Not
you,
your
Cheryl.
chickens. Thank you.
That's right. That's right. All right. We're running out of time here, guys, but let's get Alicia unmuted, and she will be the last one. Hi, Alicia. Glad you're here
Yes,
tonight.
Alicia, but yeah, so I was wondering, Marcela, do you entertain people helping to find property so that they can be a part of the deal? And what's your criteria and areas that you look in?
That's an excellent question. I'm actually, if you don't mind, I'm gonna put it in the chat, or buying criteria. But as far as having somebody look for properties for ourselves, we don't. And the reason why is because, I mean, if you have one and you meet or buying criteria, we'll take a look. But it will have to be very early. Like, what we see, some people brings deals that, hey, I have this deal under contract, or I already have an LOI accepted. And what that means is that if we go, here, I'm gonna send this. If we go in, we are assuming that we are okay with the assumptions that you make. And if you're new in the business, there might be another things that we could have negotiated. So we like to be involved very, very early. So I put the criteria for the multifamily and the chat. And once that you get to a level that, like, we have brokers that we close already, we have people that we bought properties from. So that's where we buy those type of deals. So we also get a lot of emails, just like Grant, the emails that he gets, we get. So, deal finding is really not, it doesn't have a lot of value, at least on our team. But again, let's suppose that you are finding a property, and then because we do a lot of coaching. So some of the people that we coach, if they found a property that we would like to, be a part of, then we'll take it from there, and we coach them along the way so that we can go through the acquisition and everything. And they still stay in the deal as partners. So that's another source that we have for finding deals. I hope that helped. But if you're gonna find, I'm sorry, one more thing. If you're gonna, let's suppose that you have a couple groups that you want to, they said, yes, so go ahead and find me properties. I'd love to bring you in. If you bring a property that is to my like, ask them for their criteria. Because what could happen is you're going looking for a 50 units, and then you bring it to them all happy, and it makes sense and everything, and it doesn't fit their criteria. So always get their criteria first, and then go look for the properties. Make sense?
Makes sense.
Thanks, Alicia. A really good
Thank you for the
question.
question.
Maricela, how can we best show appreciation to you and Chris tonight? I mean, typically, you know, we like take a picture of something and put it on social media, but what would be the best way for you guys just to show our appreciation for taking time spending it with us this evening?
Social media is fine. Just tag me, and that way I can contribute and just share that in our social media as well.
What platform do you prefer?
We do Facebook and Instagram, so you can tag me in those.
Okay.
And I'll ask the same thing, what I can do for the community, like just let us know, tag us and send us an email. We'll be happy to contribute.
Thank you very much. I'm going to snag a picture of us really quick here, Maricela, so I can throw it on the social media ether there. All right, 1, 2, 3. All right, awesome.
Awesome.
Great. Everyone, make sure and show love to Chris and Maricela. Just fantastic time being with you guys tonight. Thank you so much again for all the wisdom across the board. You know, we covered a wide spectrum of topics, and it was really good. This is a little bit unique because we covered some things typically out of multifamily, but I think that's good for us to know. And I would say you guys, and keep up the good work, Maricela. I mean, y'all are an inspiration to me. Just in light of your history and what you've been able to do in such a short amount of time. And then your just attitude of like, really you're like real givers, you know, I think that comes across unfiltered, right? And I think we all caught that tonight on tonight's Zoom with you and Chris. So we really appreciate you guys. It was nice spending time with y'all this evening.
Thank you so much. Thanks for having us. You know, anytime that I have more than $100 in my pocket, I'm winning. That's how much I had when I came to the States, and I didn't speak the language. So I'm like winning every day. There's no way I can lose, you know. You go guys get it. Go get it. There's millions and millions of dollars for all of us here.
All right, let's go. If you're not activated after that, I don't know. Something's wrong. Thank you, Maricela, again. Great being with y'all tonight. And please share our appreciation and gratitude to Chris as well.
I will. Thank you, guys.
All right. Let's finish with some final announcements, y'all, and we will wrap this thing up. All right.
Hey, Chris is here. Do you want to take a picture? I'm sorry, guys. He can be on camera.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Let me stop my share here. Let's run this thing back.
I missed the last one. Good job.
All right. Here we go.
You.
1, 2, 3. That's true. That's true. What would it be without Chris in the pick? Honestly. Very good.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Maricela. Thank you, Chris. Y'all have a great rest of your night.